The whiskey bottle market in Asia, particularly in Hong Kong, China, and Japan, does remain strong, with continued growth in those sales volumes driven by its demand for premium and collectible bottles.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Jacob Carter, UK head at Famai and also manager of Whiskey Bowl Auctions. Jacob, we're talking about the Asian market today. What are some of the key trends for 2023 and 2024 that you've seen?
Yes, well, for 2023 and 2024, I've seen an increase in volume, but a decline in value. Now, while the volume of whiskey traded at auction has increased by 10% in 2023, the overall value of rare whiskey has faced a decline, especially for bottles priced over that £1,000 mark. Now, auction sales for rare bottles has slowed down. There has been a 5% drop in value compared to previous years. But the market for ultra high end bottles has also seen a decline with that volume. And although those that did sell, they achieved record breaking prices, the kind of gap in that comparison does leave something to be imagined. Now, the good thing about that is, on the flip side, lower priced whiskey bottles, so under that £1,000 mark, have performed better in terms of volume, and that has been increasing by 18%. This suggests that investors and collectors are much more willing to trade in a lower price segment for that short term profit within that bottle market.
And your outlook for the rest of 2024, Jacob?
The outlook I'm seeing continued growth in premium and collectible segments. Now, as the demand for premium whiskies persists, bottles from well-established distilleries with a strong brand narrative will likely to continue to perform very well. However, investors will need patience, as we always need in the whiskey market, as values may take time to recover. Now, with the digital and e-commerce expansion side of things, with more and more sales moving online, the secondary market will benefit from increased accessibility and participation, particularly from younger and tech-savvy buyers across Asia, which we are seeing a big increase with at the moment.
Do you predict any emerging trends for 2024?
As I've said, with the demand for premium Scotch, the one thing I am seeing is this premiumization trend, should I say. It's definitely expected to persist in 2024. Now, what I mean by that is it's a growth strategy where some category volume is converted to a higher value by persuading consumers to pay more for it, which is brilliant in the secondary market for whiskey. Now, that is with single malts, aged whiskies, and anything highly sought after, particularly from Macallan, Glenfiddich, Springbank, as these are some of the brands that do continue to dominate auctions in that part of the world. Now, with that trend focusing on luxury, aged, and limited edition releases, I do see that remaining a strong trend for the rest of 2024.
Is there any brand performance to be aware of in the Asian market?
Definitely so, yes. Japanese whiskey popularity is always on the rise. Brands like Yamazaki, Hibiki, Kawasawa is continued to see price increases. For example, the Yamazaki 18-year-old bottle, that's appreciated by over 150% in the past 3 years. Now, last year alone as well, Macallan saw over 26,500 bottles sold within that secondary market, and its rare releases do continue to fetch those high prices.
What would you say is one of the key markets in Asia at the moment?
I definitely would say that Hong Kong, being a whiskey hub, is one of the key markets. It remains that major hub for whiskey sales, particularly through auctions. You know, the city's tax-free environment for luxury goods, including whiskey, makes it very attractive for sellers and buyers. You see auction houses like Bonhams and Sotheby's. They hold regular whiskey auctions in Hong Kong, often setting global price records with those auctions as well.
Do you see any challenges in the Asian markets at the moment?
Yes, like anywhere else, you've got your economic pressures, macroeconomic factors like inflation and rising costs. They have put a downward pressure on the high value luxury goods, including rare whiskey. where volume growth continues, there is increasing price sensitivity among the buyers, as I stated previously. And a concern that we always have is counterfeiting concerns. That is a challenge in the secondary whisky market in Asia, particularly in China. It's the rise of counterfeit bottles. Brands and auction houses to help with this have been focusing on authentication technology, such as blockchain, to help ensure that high value provenance of bottles it can be kept.
Anything you'd like to add to all this, Jacob?
I mean, in conclusion, the whiskey bottle market in Asia, particularly in Hong Kong, China, and Japan, does remain strong, with continued growth in those sales volumes driven by its demand for premium and collectible bottles. Like I've said before, the price growth has slowed somewhat due to those economic conditions, but I do think that the long-term outlook remains very positive. The continued rise of digital auction platforms and the premiumization of whiskey offerings will shape the future growth, while challenges such as the counterfeiting could impact those short-term dynamics. But as long as we have people on the front lines of the whiskey world continually pushing those boundaries, we should see the end to that, hopefully, in the years to come.
Jacob, thanks as always for your insights. Good speaking with you.
Lovely speaking with you as well, Stephen.
That's Jacob Carter, UK head at Famai, also manager of Whiskey Bull Auctions.